Chapter 1. Know your disease, admitting you have a problem and diagnosing it. The step to start with is to know your disease. If you don't know your disease, then how are you going to overcome it? You need to know what you are dealing with in order to conquer or control the illness. It will be harder to teach yourself the other steps of recovery if you don't know the basics first. I realize if you are reading this How to Deal with Bipolar guide, then you probably already know you have this illness. But do you really know your illness? It's just important to know at least the basics in order to deal with it head-on and follow the later steps. Knowing your illness. Bipolar is more common than anyone believes. People wouldn't talk about it, but it's out there, and a lot of people go undiagnosed. It's surprising in this day and age, when there is so much help out there for you. Why do so many people turn a blind eye? My theory is that they just don't want any of the stigmas that go along with it. They're embarrassed for people to find out. Bipolar is a chemical imbalance in the brain. It causes mood swings, behavioral problems, and irrational thinking. The mood swings bring on highs, the manic phase, and lows, the depressive phase, in the person's personality. If the illness goes untreated, they may harm themselves or others during these phases. They can last for days to weeks to months, and the depressive phase is even longer. It can go on for years if untreated. Bipolar is genetic, and if you have it, then it runs in your family. You inherited this gene from a family member, your parents, grandparents, or it can even go back further. But someone else has carried the gene for it. Don't go blaming anyone for it, but just know this fact. Also, you can pass it along to your kids, and probably have a pretty good chance to do so, depending upon the severity of your disorder. Bipolar disorder is also known as manic depressive disorder, and once was one of the most devastating diseases to have. Bipolar disorder, or manic depressive illness, affects you greatly, but also it's devastating to your loved ones. It's hard to watch someone in that state of mind. I know how they looked at me, or sometimes cried because they couldn't do anything about it. Just medicate me, deal with me, and hope I'd get better soon. Bipolar disorder can be destructive, and it does destroy lives if it goes untreated. It's best to seek professional help from someone you are comfortable with and can trust. Without the help, you may be setting yourself up for hard times. This disease may be one of the most common nowadays, but it's also one of the most treatable ones. There are many variations of treatment plans for this condition. You can definitely find one that suits your needs. People with bipolar honestly cannot help themselves when going untreated. They have to be held accountable for their actions, but yet they are undiagnosed and don't know that there is something wrong with them. Thus, the chemical imbalance. So, should they be held accountable for their actions? Bipolar disease doesn't mean you are crazy, although that's what many want to believe or are taught to believe. The true nature of this disorder is the mania and the depression. It's a deadly combination when untreated. A lot of people with bipolar have alcohol and drug dependencies to help cope with the need to self-medicate themselves. If this is the case, please take care of the other issue first. You can't take these medications for bipolar and still drink on that level. I don't drink at all. I don't have a problem, but I made this choice long ago for myself. I don't like to feel out of control mentally. You don't have to live through what I lived through. You can beat the effects of this, but you have to make sure to follow a plan and keep a close eye on things on a daily basis. Bipolar is more common today in school systems, along with ADD and ADHD. In many cases, a person has both diseases and can be medicated for both at the same time. I also have OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder, but it's not a severe case, and it goes without medication. Some people with more severe cases may need medication, but I do not. OCD is a disorder in which you count things or have to do rituals while walking or in your daily activities. It's not easy to explain to you. I do things around the house, and I know it's my OCD, but I just ignore it. My family notices when I do it also, but they usually just smile. It's not a really big factor in my life, and I can deal with it without medication. The prospect of bipolar disorder may be scary to you, but what is scary is the fact that many people who have this illness go untreated. A lot of people may not have committed crimes or gotten into trouble if they had had a correct diagnosis early on in their lives. People need to be aware of this disorder so that they can learn the facts and get treatment. Admitting the problem. To deal with your bipolar, you first have to realize that there is a problem. Admit to yourself and others that you need help. Come to terms with this and get things done. Find the strength to deal with it full force in an aggressive manner, in the quickest time possible. Once you do this, the rest of the steps will become easier, and you'll get the hang of what you need to do. You have to admit to yourself and others that there is a problem. Once you do this, it's easier to get the help that is needed and get the diagnosis in place. I can't say this is the easiest thing to do, but it is doable if you are willing to take the steps necessary to change your ways of thinking and doing things. Diagnosing the problem. Once you find the right psychiatrist and counseling services, then you are on your way to a diagnosis. When this happens, you can be more easily treated with medication and counseling sessions. Find your support systems. The people who you know you can trust, like family, close friends, or anyone you trust enough with your support for this journey. Take extra care in figuring out who your support system is for dealing with your bipolar illness. It's very important that they can be trusted and that they will not go telling everyone what is going on in your life with this, unless you want that. But in this day and age, most of us would rather keep it to ourselves. It's a clear case of mind over matter with this step-by-step method to changing how you deal with your bipolar disorder. It's up to you whether or not you think that it's something you can handle. It's ever-changing, and you're worth the ride. If you're willing to put all your efforts into it and guide yourself down a path of normalcy, whatever that may be in this day and age. I know that the next step in dealing with your bipolar disorder would usually be common sense, but I will spell it out for you. As you know, some people don't want to take this step, but it is one of the more important ones in the early stages of your taking the initiative to change your life forever. You must make the effort to take the time to do the research about the illness in order to get help and function better in life. Take the time and effort to do the research about the necessary steps in this guide. You should have no problem achieving your goals after reading about your illness. It's a great thing to write down your goals and have them handy. It's your life, and getting to the end result will take some time. If I told you you could do it in an hour, you'd say, "Great, where do I sign up?" But I can't tell you that. It's a lifelong commitment, just like any other 12-step program. If you've noticed, some of the steps are similar, but that is the best method with a lot of these diseases to get results and make them stick. The research and seeking help is something you have to want to do to get freedom from the illness. You can control your life and live it for you, no one else, just you.